video, I'm gonna give you 8 tips that you can use right now to improve your mobile photography. So first thing first, a couple of days I did a live stream and I talked about 8 tips that we can do right now to enhance our mobile photography. We did a mobile photography challenge, and our challenge was to go out and look for photos that told a story. So we're starting a new challenge, and this challenge is going to be all about colorful architecture. I have a link down below. You can jump on the Discord if you guys want to participate in this and use these tips that I'm going to give you to help practice your mobile photography. Enough of the jibber jabber. Let's get straight into this live stream that I did and listen to these 8 tips that you can use right now to improve your mobile photography. But first thing I want to talk a little bit about are some cool little things that we can do to improve our mobile photography. Now, the first one, like I said, is just getting out and shooting. You have to get out and take some photos. That's the only way you're going to get better. It's the same when I started my mobile filmmaking. I was always filming stuff every single day. Now, just because you take photos every single day doesn't mean you have to post them to Instagram, or all share them out. Just take photos and try to figure out what could I have done better in this shot to get, a little bit better in my next shot. So I quickly just searched here on YouTube how to improve mobile photography skills. And they actually dropped 8 little kind of tips here. Some of them are kind of cool and some of them are kind of like, eh. But let's go to the first one here. The first one says, light your subject well. The better lit your subject is, the clearer your image is likely to be. Now, that's a really good tip. And that's kind of one of the most important things, especially when it comes to mobile photography and filmmaking, is light. You really need to understand how light is. And again, if you're taking a picture of somebody's face, you want that face to be lit. For example, for this live stream, my main focal was okay, let me set up my camera angle. Once I got the angle that I want, how lit am I? So I got my little light here. Okay, right? No light, light on. You got to make sure your subject is well lit. Now, if the background was the subject, who cares about me being lit and the background could be lit? But always make sure your subject is well lit. The next tip they had was get close to your subject. Now, this is a really good one because also with us here in mobile filmmaking and photography, our lenses are so, wide that, you're taking a picture of a flower and you're kind of standing far back. But we forget that, we should just get closer. And what I mean by get closer, don't use that digital zoom. Now, although some of these newer phones, the Samsungs and all these newer, the digital zoom, or actually some of them actually have some slight optical zoom, but the zooming is getting better. But nothing compares to just getting closer with your phone. Manually, physically, just get closer. And that really helps to isolate your subject. And most of these phones now, they can do the blurry background. But before, most of these phones were doing blurry background. How would we get a blurry background? We would get really close to our subject and set the focal point there, and then the background will be kind of blurred out. So that's a really good tip, is also just to get closer to your subject. And also, if you take a look at number 6 actually says avoid using digital zoom. Again, our digital zoom kind of just takes the image and kind of just zooms it in. And if you ever play with your phone and just go ahead and do your pinch zoom, you'll just see the image get super grainy, get super pixelated, because you're just taking an image and you're bringing it closer to you. That's not like a true optical zoom, like on a lens camera where the mirrors are shifting to actually bring that closer. So avoid using that. Our next one we had was number 3, keep still. Now, this is a really good tip. A lot of people don't talk about this, but if you're shooting in full auto mode, now auto mode, it doesn't know what you're trying to really shoot. It doesn't know if you want to capture action. It doesn't know if you're taking just a photo of something static. It doesn't know. It's just trying to gauge algorithmically by light and all that. But be still. You really gotta you have motion blur. And my daughter, I just bought her a little digital camera for Christmas. She's 4 years old, and already she's taking photos. And a lot of times she's taking photos. And the doorbell. Hang on one second, guys. So back on point. Sorry for that small little interruption there. We were talking about keeping still. It is important to keep still. Like I was saying, my daughter got her camera and she's always taking pictures. She's moving around and she's like, "Why are they so blurry?" I'm like, you gotta be still when you take your shot. Freeze, don't move forward. Now, on the opposite end, if you're using your camera in full manual mode, and a lot of people are like, oh, manual mode, no, I don't ever use manual mode, you can set your shutter speed to be very fast. So what's going to happen if you have something that's being some motion blur, like right now you see motion blur in this. If I set my shutter speed very fast, it takes away that motion blur and captures moment. It can capture a moment like, just basically frozen. Now, a lot of people don't like to talk about or want to use their phone in manual mode because they don't understand the settings and they just go straight to auto mode. But that is one thing. I'm not going to get too in depth of it, but I do have a course here all about mobile photography and understanding how to use your camera in manual mode. It's the optimum way to get the best shots when you want to start taking some serious photos with your phone, right? I'll walk you through how to basically set up your phone and how, it depends on what kind of phone. If you got like an iPhone or something, I know you guys need third-party apps to get into all your settings, which I find absolutely crazy, Most of our Android phones here, we can jump straight in here and I can go into my my manual settings and I can see all that. I'll walk you through setting up your phone for all you Android users. If you're an iPhone user, you can still get some third-party apps so you guys can have complete control of that. We walk through understanding exposure, shutter speed, aperture, ISO. I break this all down for you guys. And the way I do is I actually compare it to a real camera. I'll jump on my real camera first, show you the settings, and then I'll jump into the mobile app, and then we'll show you how the settings are basically alike. So once you truly understand those settings, you won't fear, shooting in manual mode, and you'll really start to optimize your photography. And then I even walk you through manual focus, tap focus. Some people just like to just tap the screen for focus. We walk through how to focus. I even go through some composition settings, like as far as leading lines, guide, framing up your shot. We'll walk a little bit through that. And then I like to talk about some of the apps that I use as far as mobile photography, which I'm going to be making some more videos about because I'm getting a lot of people asking questions of what's my favorite app that I like to use or what apps do I use. For example, we'll go through Google Snapseed, the Polar app, Adobe Lightroom Mobile, Visco, and then even just for the beginners, just grading your photos right there inside of Instagram. Instagram has some basic stuff to do as far as grading. We'll walk through that, and then I kind of go through a couple of the styles of editing that I like to do, my cinematic styles and some black and white photography. So I'll have the link down in there. If you guys are into that and you're very serious about mobile photography, take a look at that course. I'll walk you through everything. Now, I'm gonna be straight up with you. Just because you take the course, you're not gonna be coming out taking Instagram bangers right off the bat. It all comes down to, again, you got to practice your trait. You got to practice your skill to get better and then better and then better. The next thing you know, you're like, whoa, boom, I got all these, likes. Everybody's all about the likes these days. Actually, I've given up on Instagram. I just shoot photography for myself to make myself happy. I don't focus on those likes anymore because I tell you, that will just kill your morale. It will just destroy your mental. So I just gave up on that. I post a couple of photos up there here and there for my friends and stuff like that to see. But let's get back on track here before we get into this. So we have number 4, edit images later. Now, this is another good tip because especially when you go somewhere, you're doing some type of traveling. You go somewhere, and you're like, oh my God, this is a great photo. And then some people will start right then in that moment, editing up the photo. And then even at that moment, posting it straight to Instagram or wherever. If you're somewhere or at an event or you're doing at somewhere cool, just take photos. Don't focus on posting it right now and editing right now and grading. Stay in the moment. Photos. Oh, this is great. This is great. You can do all that later. So this was a really good tip I've never really thought about. But for me, something I don't really ever do because most of the time I'm always in the moment. I'm like, oh, I get taking my shots on the way home in the train or on the car. Then I'll start to go back through and look at photos. Oh, that was good. That was bad. And learning from, how could I make this shot better? You know what? If I would have just got a little bit closer to the door or something, it would have looked a lot better. So keep that in mind. We also have number 5, don't throw away mistakes. That's a good tip. Basically, you might have a photo that you don't like. Figure out what that you don't like about that photo. What was it that turned you off? What was it that you could have improved on? And even some photos, I've made the mistake of at the moment just deleting it because it didn't look Instagrammable or something. It didn't look like a good shot. I deleted it. And luckily with me, I shoot in manual mode. And on my Samsung device, it saves 2 photos. It saves a RAW photo and it saves a JPEG. Sometimes I'll go ahead and delete the JPEG, and then I'll come back to the RAW photo a day later and I'm like, oh, wait. If I crop this just like this is actually a really good photo. So I can understand what they say, but don't throw away some of your mistakes. You know, again, stay in the moment, look at your photos, analyze what you could have done better. How could you have set the comp up a little bit better to get a better shot? So that's something really good too. We already went over 6. Avoid using digital zooms. I've never pretty much ever used digital zoom. I learned that doing mobile photography and filmmaking for many years now. That it's just, there's nothing good about it. I just zoom in. I mean, I'll just get closer, physically grab my phone and get closer. 7, experiment with white balancing. Again, some people might not. What is white balance? You know, when you're in auto mode, you don't have control of white balance. So when you go into manual mode, which something I talk about in the course down there below, we talk about the advantages of using your white balance and correcting basically the white color. If something's white in your photo and it has a slight blue feel to it, you need to adjust your white balance, or if it's too orangey. And then on the opposite end, like when I do night photography, sometimes I like to turn up my white balance towards the blue side to give all the lights a little bit of like a little teal color. That just makes it a little bit more cinematic. Now I'm using it to my advantage. But if you don't do it in manual mode and you only shoot in auto mode, you never have that option, you know, because automatically it's always trying to correct the white balance. It's trying to make whites look white all the time. So that's another good thing, experimenting with your white balance. Maybe you're taking a photo during golden hour and it's kind of gloomy outside and it's not really that golden color. If you cheat your white balance down a little bit to the warm color, now you can add a little bit of warmth back into the photo. And then number 8, which I love right here, which is this is it. This is a good one. Take loads of shots and experiment. Get out and just shoot photography, shoot pictures. Don't go out in the mind and think, oh, I'm going to shoot the greatest Instagram pic ever. No, just go out and shoot photography to learn. I like to do on my other channel. I have another channel that I'm starting mobile photography called One Frame with Me. And on this channel here, I'm basically going to be sharing a lot of the sessions that I do that I normally don't talk about, because I normally would just record me editing or grading the photo, but just going out and what I'm looking for when I'm taking a photo. You know, like the other day I was experimenting when we had the shot for the Discord server. We're talking about how we can tell a story. I was just snapping shots at everything. Oh, that was interesting. Well, anything that made me stop and think, I kind of took a shot of it. So I'm going to be recording some of those sessions and posting them up here. And I'm going to start to separate my photography stuff away from my 1 Minute with Me channel, my original channel, which is all about mainly filmmaking with the phone. And I'm going to start using this channel to just focus more strictly on mobile photography, because I know a lot of people these days shoot photography with their phone. It's always with us. It's in our pocket and all that time. So you know what? That's what I'm going to do. All right, guys. So I hope those tips were helpful. Now, again, to put these tips into work, into action, you got to get out and start taking some photos, right? So again, you can join us here on this challenge. It's going to be about 7 days long, and we're going to basically post all of our photos in the Discord. I'll have the link down below, and it'll drop you right in there. We have a great community of other mobile photographers who just enjoy taking photos on their mobile devices. Again, if you want to learn more about how to use your phone in manual mode, I have a course down there below where I walk you through all that and get all in depth on how to improve your photography using your settings in manual mode. So take a look at that. Links down in the description. Other than that, I'll catch you guys in the next video, and keep shooting. That's the only way you're going to get better. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.